Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at a piece of software that I have used extensively throughout the years. That's called Guitar Pro 7. Now, when I first became aware of this software, they were on version 5, so it was Guitar Pro 5 at the time. But essentially, it's all the same thing. It's just this is the most recent version of Guitar Pro. It's like, I think it's 7.5 now, but it is essentially a tablature software where you can notate your own tablature as well as your own sheet music, and it's got a lot of features. It's pretty crazy, but we're going to dig into it. Alright, so like I mentioned, this software is primarily for guitar tablature, guitar notation. You can basically download files from ultimateguitar.com, like guitar profiles, and pop them in here and just load them right up. And you can learn them. It's pretty sick. Let's just go to something here. Let's go to this one. This is one that I recently was messing around with on TikTok, as a matter of fact. But basically, what you will find when you download a file of a song that has already been made is that you have the option to display the notation. So you have the actual notes shown on the treble clef or the bass clef, as well as their note duration and the tablature. So it's kind of like a hybrid way of reading music, and I prefer to have the duration as well as the tablature on there so that I can kind of see both of the things that I need to see. Because I can read music, but for guitar, I've done it for so long with tabs that I think that it's just easier to read the number and then read the rhythm separately, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's cool because basically what it will do is it will play for you as well. So like you can even slow it down to change the rate of the playback, and you can even make it higher than the original speed, so you can practice it faster if you want to for some reason. But it's cool because you can play along to it. It's got a metronome, it's got a count in. And say we want to slow it down like I mentioned, it would be super easy to just go in here and say, oh shit, I can't play that melody, so we're going to play it at half speed, for example, or something. And then also, say you wanted to just only hear that part, you could just solo it. It's pretty nice. You'll find that all of the notation that they provide is centered around guitar, since this is what this is primarily sold for, is guitar notation. But I think it's really important to mention that it can do a lot more than just that. For example, using Guitar Pro is a great way to make Midi files as well. So like, let's say that I wanted to just make something and specifically have like Midi information. It doesn't even have to specifically be a Midi channel like this over here. Say I wanted to make like a bass line, right? I could just create the bass line like that, and then, you know, whatever, you know, for example, and say I wanted to make that a Midi, I would just export it as a Midi, easy, effortless. And, you know, you would just save it under the MIDI file there. So it's a nice way to create MIDI files, really fast as well. You can make PDFs really quickly as well by exporting it as a PDF instead. You can export the audio too if you don't have like a way to like demonstrate your song, or like, you know, basically just so someone can like hear it, get a gist of it. Or if you're desperate for a backing track and you really need it, like, you could make one in Guitar Pro. It is possible. It's not going to sound as good as one that you make yourself in like a DAW, but it's going to get the job done, and it's better than nothing. But this is a great software for people that want to compose music, and I mean, I would say that you probably should be primarily a guitar player if you're going to be purchasing this, but it has been really helpful for me personally, because I can compose music and learn music, as well as using it as a teaching tool is pretty easy, because you can make PDFs, and the workflow is so fast and so easy that it really is ideal for stuff like that. Something else that I wanted to mention too is that it's really easy to mess around with how the layout looks so that you can make it nice and professional looking. So if you want, you can just, scoot the measures over, have a certain amount of measures per phrase, and then have it look very professional. There's also other articulations, such as like your accents, your marcato, staccato, as well as legato and other things like slides. So there's a lot of different stuff, man. There's even like slap and pop, tap. Like there's so many different things that they provide in here. It's really nice. Now, obviously on guitar, you don't necessarily see like certain techniques a whole lot, but just having them there is super nice. And like I said before, like you could easily use this to be making MIDI files for your orchestral music if you really wanted to, but it's definitely the kind of thing that you want to use, I think, if you're a guitar player, because it is very valuable as a learning software, but it's nice as well to sort of have like something that is like a database, so you can create like an archive for your music. So like say that you write your own music on guitar, or for like, guitar, drum and bass, you could easily write something up and have a reference for it as long as you have the files and whatnot. So I think that's important too, because like if I come up with a riff and I don't want to forget it, I'm going to put it in Guitar Pro because it will show me exactly how to play it, provided that I have notated it correctly. There is a certain amount of like education that helps you before having software like this. Like if you don't know how to read note duration, you might be a little bit screwed, because there are sort of like ways to write notation so that the musician can play it properly. You really don't want to write music in a way that's going to make the performer struggle to read it. Like you want someone to be able to sight read the music basically on the first try, at least to give them the tools to make it as easy as possible on their first run through. So yeah, knowing the proper note durations and how to visually present them is really important, because I mean you could really screw up a measure, but thankfully there is a feature that will tell you like if you have too many, right? So like, okay, I added a dot here. So now you can see right here there is a red, well, this is a better way to show it. Now, right here, the measure that has too many beats is in red. And it will even tell you by how many beats. So, you can kind of go in there and figure out, like, what's the problem. Obviously, we know that in this case, the dot is causing the problem. So, we're an eighth note too long. So, it's nice because it's a good way to double check your work for sure if you're unsure about if you have the proper amount of duration in your measure. So yeah, that feature is particularly nice if you don't necessarily know how much of the bar that you need to fix. So I think that the last thing I'd like to do to kind of show this program off is to just pull up a file that I've made myself, so you can kind of see what it looks like when you make your own file, and kind of what you can do with it as far as like songwriting goes and all that shit. So this is a song from the EP that I made with my friend Court, called Gravelord. The song's called Revenant. And this is actually, it's funny because we actually started writing the song a long time ago, so this is kind of an old file, so it just goes to show how important having these like archived files can be. You just go back to it, relearn the song, and also it's so easy to collaborate, because I mean he lived in Argentina, and it would have been impossible for me to meet up with him and jam or anything like that, so it was really easy to share these Guitar Pro 7 files as well as communicate through like social media and Discord and shit. So it's really nice to be able to have something like that, and it's so easy to send these files. They're not like they're really big or anything either, so it's pretty nice. But I kind of wanted to just kind of play through this, and I'm going to go through the different tracks so you can kind of see like what it's all about, and you can also kind of get a feel for how the actual program presents its audio. But again, it's not going to sound like you mixed it in a DAW. Like, this is to learn how to play stuff, to archive stuff, and, it's not really like, hey, check out this thing that I produced. No. I mean, compositionally, yes, but not as far as, like, a final mix, so clarification. Anyway, here is Revenant, and this is the main guitar part, and I believe this also has the Yep, the main guitar part with the harmony as well. So this is like all of like the more, I'll call this like the more technical guitar track, I guess, like the lead guitar. This can be like the rhythm track and so on and so forth. So let's just go through it. I don't think this one's anything. This was a chorus part we never ended up adding. Bass guitar. Not sure what this one was. Oh, the solo. Alright, let's skip into the solo part so you can just see this part. I don't remember if I kept the bend. I probably didn't. I mean, like, I think I got a little bit lazy when I notated this, but it was close enough. But like, say I needed to go back and relearn the solo, which I would because I don't remember it. That's why I have this, and that's why it's important to have sort of documentation like that. And I know that everything is accurate except for, like I said, there's some slight variation in like the rhythm, like that bend thing. I didn't feel like hammering it out. I just wanted to remember it. Because I wrote the solo while I was recording it, so it was really like I was playing it, trying to track some stuff, and then what I did simultaneously was notate it in here just so I could remember it. But yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't matter what kind of music you write, honestly, not at all. I mean, like, if you want to learn a song, you want to write a song, or you want to write like some MIDI shit, like, it doesn't really matter, dude. Like, if you find yourself needing any of the features that Guitar Pro offers, even if you're not necessarily like a guitar player, I mean, it's a really, really, really good program, and I think it was money well spent. And if I had to do it again, I would definitely do it. I'll probably make some videos going into like how you actually use the software more. I just kind of wanted to give more of an overview of like, hey, this is what it is, this is what it can do, and this is an example of it in a song that I actually wrote myself. So it's not like the information has been put in by like another user. So if you guys find that you need any help with anything specific, please let me know. Give me a comment below and let me know if there's anything that you need me to cover. But I would say that this is a really straightforward program. Ideal for someone who's a guitar player, even more ideal for someone who is also a composer. So but yeah, guys, thanks for checking out this video. Short and sweet, I hope, and I'll catch you on the next one.